Hey everybody, this is Dead Winter Dead with another Battlefield 4 video for you. Today's kind of a weird video, kind of a doubleheader I suppose, in which we're going to talk about a couple things. The first part of this is kind of a mini version of my Hold the Point series. For those of you that don't know what Hold the Point is, it is a series of mine in which I hold a specific point on a map, usually a conquest map, and I go over my reasoning for holding that point, my tactical reasoning for holding that point, as well as the overall tactics that I use. And as you can see, we are on the Delta flag on Paracel Storm. Paracel Storm is one of the vanilla maps that shipped with Battlefield 4. And this round was a little bit of a weird one. There's something that happened at the last half of this commentary that I really wanted to discuss. But this first part, we were getting our butts kicked. I was at the Bravo flag and it was just futility in motion. I wasn't getting any teamwork, and Bravo is difficult to hold because there are so many entrances and exits on that flag that it's actually difficult for one person to hold down. So I retreated to the Delta flag. The reason is there's only really two ways into the building, and since I'm using the upstairs, again, height gives me an advantage, a tactical advantage, there's only one way upstairs, and that is using the stairs. So I can hold this point effectively by myself with my LSAT and my claymores. As you can see here, the attack boat is skulking around Delta, and with this kit I cannot attack the driver directly, but remember that the wing gunners of the attack boat are still extremely vulnerable. A couple rounds from the LSAT and down they go, because they're essentially just standing on the deck of the boat manning those miniguns. Excuse me. Another thing that you need to remember as the attack helicopter tries to come in pretty soon, there he goes, is that the windshield of most attack helicopters or scout helicopters are vulnerable to weapons fire. So do not do this, pilots, because you will get shot out of your seat, and down he goes. Now here I have to start playing the cat and mouse game because they know where I'm at. You know, I know that they know that I know, and so we're just going to kind of play this peekaboo game, and they have the advantage. At least they think they have the advantage. They have heavier weapons and they have numbers. But I have the ability to move around, to get in and out of their sight, to kind of hit them, stick and move, and get out of there before I'm blown away. Another quick claymore at my feet because I realize now the enemies that I have killed will probably respawn on Delta and start charging up these stairs to take me down. And here I go all the way up to the roof. This is kind of a dirty kill because I think this guy just spawned in, and I'm not sure what he was doing, but he spawned in, and you know what? He was on the battlefield, so I shot him, but I think that he may have been away from his keyboard. And I didn't want to show all of this, but this is a great deal of time later. I realized that our team was going nowhere. As you can see, it is 112 to 615. That's the ticket count, and we're probably not going to win this one, especially with the teamwork that I was getting out of this team. I normally don't like to knock teammates, but it was bad team play. A lot of these guys were just kind of lone wolf and doing their own thing, which is fine. You know, I've said it once, I'll say it again. They paid the $60 for the game or whatever, and they can do whatever the hell they want to do. But they were not helping win this match. So I hung around on Delta, and I wanted to try to just hold it and at least be a thorn in their side. You know, not let them all cap us, not let them completely rape us. And like I said before, Delta is a great place to do that simply because, and there you go, lack of situational awareness. I should have heard this guy, but his lack of situational awareness. He caught me in the middle of planting a claymore. I should have heard him coming up the stairs. I think he thought that I didn't get the claymore plant, but what he didn't realize was that I already had one up top, and he just charged right up those stairs and got taken down by the claymore. This is a little while later. As you can see, we are recapping Delta. And the match pretty much goes on and on like this. Now this is what I wanted to talk about. If you start looking at the chat, this is what you will see. There was a player in chat who said, I thought this was a low-level server, blah, blah, blah. And he had been complaining most of the game that high-level players were killing him. And his complaint was high-level equals skill. Now, I'm not sure what many of you think about that, but I think that is complete BS. I do not think that if you are a high-level player, that you are necessarily the best player on the battlefield or the most skilled. The only thing high-level players have going for them is that to reach that level, they had to have put many, many hours into the game, which means that theoretically their map knowledge and terrain knowledge of all of these maps, including DLC packs, should be excellent. They should have excellent map knowledge. And right here you see me just being completely stupid. I'm goofing off and kind of trying something. I realized that planting a claymore in a stairwell is a very basic idea, but I get this retarded idea that I'm just, oh, well, maybe if I cover it up with a chair, they might not notice it. And, you know, this is just me goofing off, and so if you don't like me watching me kick around a chair, just look somewhere else, and we'll go ahead and continue to discuss this level issue. But anyway, this young player said, you know, basically high-level players equal skill. Now, the only thing that high-level players have going for them, like I said, my first point was many hours theoretically means that they should know the maps and they should have plenty of map knowledge. And many hours means that they should have most of the stuff unlocked, unless they are just a terrible player and they're bouncing around from kit to kit with no real focus. They should have most of the equipment unlocked. Now, is it true that some equipment is better than others? Yes, it is true that there is some equipment that is better than others. And you know, some people may be able to use them better, some people maybe not. Now, remember, in a previous video of mine, and I've talked about this in a couple of videos, but I kind of subscribe to this idea of the quote-unquote weapon X factor. The idea that stats may say one thing, weapons on paper may say another thing, but you never really know how a weapon performs until you take it into the battlefield and actually have some time with it. There are people out there that cannot use the 240 Bravo or cannot use the LSAT, but me, I use it just fine, and I think they're both excellent weapons, and I'm very, very effective with them. There are some people out there that cannot use the M416, and there are some people out there that's all they use. I mean, it just depends on how you feel with the weapon. Stats be damned. It just depends on how you feel with the weapon. And this is basically what I tell this guy. I tell him that the starting weapons are just fine, and you know, the levels basically just means, you know, hours played. And I'm trying to just tell this guy, and he comes back with, well, if the starting weapons are fine, you should use them. And you know, I say something, and if I had gotten the chance, I would have switched over. What is it, to the Mark 100, the starting support weapon, and I would have been able to use it just fine. But my point is, and again, level does not mean skill. Level does not mean that you are better at this game than anyone else. It just doesn't. And most of you would agree. A Battlefield player who is new to the franchise is probably not going to be as good as a Battlefield player who, say, had hundreds of hours in BF3 and now hundreds of hours of BF4, simply because Battlefield is the type of game that it does take a little bit getting used to. There is kind of a learning curve. You don't just go in and start doing 360 no-scopes, and you know, the weapons feel different. There are different weapon ballistics. There are different weapon types. It just depends on what you like, and there's plenty of variety for different kinds of players. If you want to be that 360 no-scope guy, you can do it. If you want to be, you know, the cautious, slow-moving player who likes to take his time and be methodical, you can do it. There's a weapon and a kit for you to do that. There is no one end-all be-all kit that will constantly dominate, simply because different pieces of equipment, whether they be weapons or gadgets, perform differently in different players' hands. So remember, just because you're going up against a level 100 does not mean that level 100 is completely dominating or completely skillful. Just because you're new to the game and you're a level 10 or a level 5 or a level 30 doesn't mean that you cannot be successful in this game. Anyway, guys, my name is Dead Winter Dead. Thanks for watching.